Happy Tuesday, everyone. It's a little bit different with us being here on Tuesday, but I think most of you know why that's the case. So I want to say thanks to everybody for showing up on an off day. I'm going to go ahead and catch up a chat real quick, and we're going to get right into it because we got some stuff to talk about. I see Jim Largo, Bjorn Jorgensen, World Made of Cardboard, Kieran Ball, Jesse Hughes, Epic Badger, who was sick yesterday, is feeling better today, from what I understand. Awesome to hear. World Made of Cardboard, sorry to hear about the experience at the eye doctor, but I hope the checkup goes well. Better Ray Bob, nice to see you. Been a while. Boba Hicks, as believe I mentioned, I don't know for sure, but I'm glad to see everyone here and doing well. Um, Today is a very different day than yesterday was, and for many, if not most of you, um, yesterday was a very long day, which had a 7.5 hour charity stream for Masters Maniac Mexico, aka Rolo, and that also entailed a couple hours before and after. Very long day. I was very, very tired, exhausted. But as you well know at this point, things went very well. And I will share an update with you at the end of the news segment for today's show, just to give you an idea of what we were able to accomplish and what's next. So, without further ado, I am going to go ahead and get right into the news and just kind of talk about a couple things. And we'll go along. We're going to talk about some toys and have a good time. All right. All right. So, first on the news agenda is talking about Hasbro's exclusives as they relate to San Diego Comic Con. They Hasbro announced, as you may have heard, that they are not going to be selling exclusives in person at San Diego Comic Con. Um, I think overall this is very good news, in as much as people are not going to have to worry about getting them, uh, at the convention. That means that there's probably going to be an online component, but you know what that means, folks? It means that it's probably going to be really difficult um, to get these, because, as we all know, online pre-orders tend to be a bit of a pain. But it also means that the folks that tend to snatch up a lot of things at San Diego Comic Con and then post them online for outrageous prices are less likely to be able to do so. So, little bit of imbalance there, from my opinion. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on all of that. But but they haven't confirmed how they are selling them. So I think the term exclusive in this case is probably a misnomer, and that the exclusive it'll be sold through Hasbro's website and Hasbro's website alone. If they're smart, they would make it available across multiple retailers and make it a thing that's available for order at a certain time and this and that. Because, as Jim Largo was saying, that the Hasbro Pulse and bots really do suck. And I agree 100%, because there's a good possibility that we could be seeing the rise of some bot action moving into uh, the release of these items. I hope that doesn't happen. I really do. And it's an unfortunate fact of life right now. But I'm hoping that they can minimize that as much as humanly possible as we move through uh, that process. So I definitely agree with that. And just he says it only matters if it's something that somebody wants. That's also true. Could very well be that the exclusives on offer just aren't that enticing to a lot of people. That's entirely possible too. So it is certainly something to keep an eye out for, because when San Diego would come around, I would kind of tend to just go, well, I'm not going to get any of that stuff. But if they play their cards right, which, let's be fair, this is Hasbro, they're not known for doing that. But if they do, it is possible we could get some San Diego Comic Con exclusives much easier than we could if we had any previous years having not gone to the convention. So we don't. The answer is we don't know. But I wanted to alert you guys to the news and keep your eyes open, because there could be something on the horizon that could potentially be good. Well, McLaughlin says hello, and hello to you too, my friend. Good to see you again. It feels like it's been a while, but it hasn't. But it hasn't. Kieran Ball says, if they are plastic bubble free, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Ooh, Clark, what you just said. And Boba Hicks thinks that his neighbors are bots, and that's entirely possible. You never know in today's world. You just don't know. Keep your eye on 'em. All right. So we're going to keep an eye on these exclusives as well as Boba Hicks's neighbors, apparently. Next up on the agenda, we've got a reveal from the DC Multiverse line from some Black Adam figures from the film, kind of revealing um, some some character designs, which I think are pretty pleasing for me. So you've got Black Adam hooded and unhooded, which why that would be two different figures, but it looks like it is. Um, that's interesting. Hopefully, it's just an alternate head with a cape on it, or the cape cloak thing is an add-on to the existing figure. We don't know, but it appears in these reveals that they're two separate figures. Well, Dwayne the Rock Johnson for you, and I agree with Better Ray Bob that the Doctor Fate looks really, really sharp. Probably one of the best new designs for Doctor Fate that I've ever seen. And having Doctor Fate in there seems really cool. Jim Largo says, Hasbro exclusive Dr. Mindbender with Bodge's gear and radioactive codpiece? No thanks. I agree. I agree. And Bjorn says, Sins are everywhere. And Kieran Ball says, we don't have bots in the UK, only lizard royalty. And all depends upon how you view things, and because it's like, look, there's crap everywhere, and the monarchy. If someone said, okay, I can get rid of the monarchy in the UK, or I can get rid of online bots, I would probably get rid of online bots first. But that's me. Bjorn Jorgen says, I like the Dr. Fate. I do too. So we've got, I believe that's the Atom, not to be confused with Adam. It's getting pretty good. And then you also have a Hawkman, from what I can see, which is an interesting design, not my favorite. Um, but it's got a good wing sculpt to it, which is something. It's something. And I don't know who this person is on the upper right. I have no idea who that is. None. And if someone could help me out, I would appreciate that. Jim Largo says that the Toddy Mac face sculpts are still looking pretty derpy. I would say that's you're probably right. This devilish figure over here just kind of like, hello, I'm here. What's going on? And Master Maniac Rolo's here. Glad to see you here, pal. We have some news to share about the aftermath of the stream a little bit later on. Kieran Ball says a Pierce Brosnan Doctor Fate would be cool, but I hate that Hawkman. Fair enough. Jesse Hughes says Jim is a YouTube VR girl. He's not real. You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first. Bjorn says the female looks kind of like a Green Lantern type, and I was thinking the same thing. But if you look at her hand, there's no ring, so she's definitely not of that ilk at all. So interesting, but not a thing. Jason Garcia's here. Hello, sir. Gotatron says Atom Smasher and Cyclone from the Jeff Johns era of the JSA. Thank you very much for that information that I didn't know. Thank you. Always, always, always. Um, you're not supposed to put in the comments what the thing is if it's exclusive. But yes, I see it, and I'll bring it up in a minute. I'm excited too. Um, So Jason Garcia says the female looks like she's wearing Lex Luthor's armor. It is a little similar, isn't it? It's a little similar, sure. Jim Mardo says Cyclone's a JSA version of Red Tornado. Okay, okay, okay. All right, all right, all right. And Bill Wifta coming in. Nice to see you. Bill says Jade. Could the female be Jade? I suppose it's possible. Hello, Gotatron. Nice to see you. Thanks for your facts and your things and your stuff. But that's all I had to say about that, because it's like, well, I I'm not particularly interested in the figures at all. Um, but it is interesting to see the character designs give you an idea of what the movie is going to be like. And I think most of the character designs I saw were pretty promising. Dr. Fate, of course, being the big winner, in my opinion. World Made of Cardboard says, looking back at the Hasbro stuff, a new listing today for a new tier for Hasbro Pulse Hiss, which I had not seen. So thank you for letting me know. A cup holder for the figure in the driver's seat. I believed it at first and then found out it was a joke. That's how disconnected I think Hasbro is. You're not wrong in the sense that I would believe that from Hasbro with their track record for sure. And I agree with this, Jim Largo. Nice of Todd to spoil the villain reveal for the Black Adam movie with his toys. And that's how all the it's not just a Toddy Mac thing. There's certainly um, some of that going on with Hasbro and Marvel Legends and other things as well. I think that the toy reveals are getting a little bit too on the nose. Meanwhile, in terms of things that I think are a big win, but also a weird happenstance. So we turn our attention to Walmarts across the United States where the Superpowers Batwing, developed by McFarlane himself, are being seen on shelves, but they haven't officially announced a damn thing. They're not advertising anything. And it's not even on everything shelves. This particular picture being from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, here in the United States. And here's a bit of more of a close up of the actual box art, which is a great picture, I must say. You clearly see the McFarlane Toys logo there. So you can tell that that is exactly where they're coming from. You get a good look at everything here. And I found out something today in a video review from one of the most annoying YouTubers I've ever heard. Not annoying because he has a weird online presence, but he has no auditory discipline whatsoever. But still, he put up the video, and I was very appreciative of it. And it shows that this canopy here, you release it by hitting the bat logo on the front. There's an actual spring in here, which I think is really great. And he also tried multiple Dark Knight collection Batmans to get them in. You have to kind of get them to sit in there. You got to push them down a little bit, but they definitely fit in there without them looking weird or having to modify anything. You got these claws in the front, which work very well with older figures as well. And the wings fold. I'm still not sure what the hell the folding wings are for. Probably just so you can display it in such a way that doesn't have to have its wingspan, I guess. Um, Pope is here. Pope is the man of the hour as far as I'm concerned. He's the guy that pushed us over that $1,000 mark yesterday and made me cry pretty hard. So, welcome, Pope. It's good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Um, Definitely a few things there as well. So just to go through here, we've also got the top of the box, which is very similar to old Superpowers boxes, and we also have the UPC at the bottom, which is integral for doing online searches to find out where it's in stock. So I'm grateful to have that picture at my disposal. So just something to keep an eye on as these are popping up here and there sporadically throughout the United States. Okay. Um, and another reveal, it happens just about an hour before the stream went live. There's a Hasbro Fortnite Victory Royale series motorboat. This is 6-inch scale stuff, um, but it doesn't have any gaudy logos on it. It doesn't have anything weird or out of place. It doesn't look cartoony. It looks kind of like the boat from that one Mask vehicle, and it has an interesting display piece. It shows water, so you can display it. Look like it's going through water, which I really like. Um, and it's in stock at Hasbro Pulse UK. We're not sure when it's going to hit to the United States, but this is a decent little vehicle for 6-inch figures, and you certainly don't have to use it with with a Fortnite figures. You could use any 6-inch figures, including Action Force, Marvel Legends, whatever. So I thought it'd be interesting to show this to everybody. So to keep an eye open, because this would be a great vehicle for 6-inch collectors. Not to mention the fact that historically the Fortnite vehicles tend to be very affordable. So I wanted to bring that up to everybody so that you'd be able to see that, hey, this is something that's pretty cool. And Bjorn also agrees that the boat looks pretty cool, I do think as well. And then Jesse Hughes saying the Jazzwares Fortnite vehicles are nice for the 4-inch scale. You bet. That's definitely something I've heard in the past, and I will keep my eye out for those as well. Masters Maniac says the Pope is in the house. People praise the Almighty and the grace representative on earth. Well, yeah, most of the people here, if not all contributed and were amazing people. But that last little bump was really fucking cool, man. So I appreciate that. Jim Largo, I knew he'd get excited for this. Is half the reason that I included it because I knew you'd be into this. He says, "Ooh, a frogman boat for my action force." It's exactly what I was thinking. I figured with all of your love of customs that this would just jump right in to action force for you. And Kieran Ball says, of course, if this is a McFarlane vehicle, figures probably won't fit like it's too small Batmobile. When it comes to the Batwing, I've seen proof in multiple sources that Superpowers collection figures fit perfectly fine inside of that. We're talking about the Fortnite thing. It's not a McFarlane thing. It's just Hasbro themselves. So we're pretty safe there as well. And Bjorn already says he's on the lookout for that boat. So there you go. Just Nature is back. Nice to see you. Says for all the support yesterday. Thank you. No worries. We're gonna keep going. Speaking of keeping going, we've got some more news here. Um, Gojatron tipped me off to the Amazing Heroes line by way of a different part of their line. I'm going to show you here in a bit. Wave 7 of Amazing Heroes. This is a figure line that some of you may not be aware of. It's a 5 point of articulation, scaled to superpowers, more or less. And these are showing this particular wave has females, and these are from classic comic books. And they're going to be offering the pre order through quarter 2 of 2022. And Big Bad Toy Store has them exclusively at this point. I have placed my orders. I will be showing some of these figures as we go through. But there's some pretty interesting stuff. So, like, for example, this Phantoma. She was created by Fletcher Hanks, first appeared in Jungle Comics #2 in 1940. So this isn't some new IP, but it's classic characters being brought to life in figures. They're really, really cool. And there's two versions of the figures. You get the standard version, which has new artwork, and then you have a Golden Age version that includes an extra card back with classic artwork on it, and you can swap them out, which is really interesting to me. But I love the way these look, very reminiscent of Superpowers, and they are 5 POA figures, you bet. And Gojatron says, I have a review of Amazing Heroes Mr. Monster on the old channel. So after today's stream, I would suggest going over to Gojatron's channel to check out the Amazing Heroes figure review that he's got there. I think it's a great, great idea. Not only to get a feel for these characters in the flesh, but also to give Gojatron some support and hopefully a drop a like and a subscription because his channel is excellent. Now, so that's the current wave that they've revealed, but I also want to show off some other things from the same company and some from the same line. For example, this is a Naughty or Nice collection Santa Claus. I wasn't aware of this, that they were making this, but they've got interchangeable hats, heads, joints all over the place. It's just a Santa Claus figure, but I just think it's really neat. And I went ahead and pre-ordered one because it's just cool. It's just cool. Also in that line is a Krampus figure, which has all kind of great accessories that come with him. There's an accessory pack you can get for the Santa Claus that has the same accoutrement in red, but it's an additional purchase, whereas they've combined the two together for this figure at a lower price. So for me, it's an amazing figure. And I really want to have a Santa Claus and a Krampus hanging out, and that'll be part of my Christmas decorations every year. Even though I'm not religious, I do still celebrate the holiday because it meant so much to my parents. So we're definitely going to be getting a hold of those. But I thought some of you might get a kick out of that. Um, Pope says Krampus, heck yeah. Got some support for Kieran Ball. Bjorn says that the Santa figure is great. Kieran Ball also bringing up the fact that based on classic characters from the bondage fetish superhero era. Exactly. That's 100% correct, sir. 100% correct. Jesse Hughes says the Santas are crazy. They have variations like pirates and camel Santa. Yeah, there's a whole line of these, and they're great, and they're all up for pre-order right now. Better Ray Bob says, I wish that Fresh Monkey Fiction would bring Amazing Heroes to the Eagle Force line. Yeah, they're different scales, and I think that it would be an interesting way to bring them together because they're slightly different scales, which I'm going to show here in a moment. So speaking of Eagle Force, they're 4 inches, whereas um, the Amazing Heroes line are 4.5 inch, which scales them closer to superpowers. Okay, so it's something to just to bear in mind. as you're looking through these. But Eagle Force is just killing it, dude. I saw their initial run and everything, was really impressed. I didn't realize they were available on Big Bad. I figured if I didn't know, you might not know either. Now, you'll realize that when if you're talking about the Christmas figures that later this year, so before Christmas this year, so if you pre-order them now, they'll come out in like fall. That's what it's looking like. What you'll notice with some of these Freedom Force figures I'm about to show you, as well as some of the other figures later, because we're doing a lot of different things here with the with Fresh Monkey Fiction. Um, a lot of them will hearken to other pop culture figures, but they don't have the license. So Jesse Hughes is getting exactly to where I'm going with this. But I also wanted to show the Black Terror, which is a pretty cool figure, I must say. And look at all these exchangeable hands. These are 4-inch figures. They've got some great articulation, and the price for what you get is very reasonable, like $27 US for all of this in a 4-inch figure that's gonna have all of this um, really customizable stuff. The weapons look top notch. You've got armor and different kinds of things. It's so good, and it's kind of nuts. So, just nature. Good night. Hope you get some rest. And like Josie Tron said, there's a lot of homages in the line, and that's something that I don't think it's talked about enough. They're doing some really cool stuff. I've never talked about it before, so I wanted to bring it up here today. So, in that vein, we've got someone that's named Tony Bruno. Tony Bruno, who's a hitman, and he's got a great sniper rifle and some weapons and this and that. Um, but I would be remiss if I didn't also show you Louis Bruno. Clearly, you may see some, uh, shall we say, similarities to other pop culture figures. Okay. And for the same price, you're getting just as much stuff. He's got himself a wonderful, it looks like an AR-15 with a grenade launcher underneath it. I can't tell for sure. Two handguns, working holster, bunch of hands. I mean, I'm absolutely getting the not Mario and not Luigi because I think that those are just the coolest things I've seen in a long time, for sure. Now, those of you that are Action Force fans might have a lot of fun with the next ones. Count Iron Moon. I wonder who he looks like. Hmm. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know who it is. It's Cat Iron Blood. Gojatron says, I have a box on the way from Big Bad that includes Eagle Force Steve Austin. Steve Austin. Yes. So with that in mind, I'm moving on to the next figure here because it's just kind of cool. Um, again, I have no idea who you might think this could possibly be associated with. This is the Crimson Moon Legionnaire 40th anniversary figure. Has nothing to do with anything else at all. Nothing to do at all. Kira, you want to get sued? I'm like, I'm just saying with a little bit of sarcasm, you know. But for those of you that collect 4-inch or are enthusiasts of these older lines, and you're not stuck with that visage, you've got multiple heads that you can do whatever you want with these figures. But for those that are really into um, those particular lines, I thought it was a really good idea to show. Now, there's a whole wave of uh, the figures available, which is again a really reasonable price. I did the math. This breaks down to about $18 a figure, so you're saving quite a bit of money on these. I'll redo my math here just to make sure I didn't make that up in my head because I was like, that's a pretty good price. 209, 99, each. No, okay, closer to 26. So you are saving some money. You are saving some money. But the first figure is a riot sniper, so it's a troop builder looking fella with a bunch of stuff. Reusing the sniper rifle from the Bruno brothers. Um, you've got a Navy, which is a very accurate, old school naval outfit, I must say. High Tide Search and Rescue. I really like that those features. Um, and Jim Largo bringing up a point. He says if these are 112 scale, it'll be all in, but alas, they are not. Better Ray Bob says I've already heavily pre-ordered these figures. Also looking forward to the return of the Gold Suit Eagle Force characters. I as well. Masters Maniac says fantastic new concept. I agree. World Cardboard says looks like the guy in Britain, Lord Buckethead. Exactly. Exactly. We've got another Navy, Low Tide Navy SEAL, which is not really dressed like a Navy SEAL, but it's a cool figure for sure. And then you've got Stryker Senior, the sharpshooter. Again, you get the same sniper. You're starting to see some reuse of hand molds as well as weapons, but that's part of how they can get this array of figures. Okay, Sergeant Blackstone. He does not look like anybody in American film history at all. Doesn't look like him a little bit. Not even a little bit. But that's a really cool figure with some great alternate features here, which I really think is great. And Jesse Hughes makes a very good point, which I'll be happy to read out. Brian Jim is not officially endorsed, copyright infringement, or IP appropriate. Any review of toy line likeness is especially unintentional, only general opinion. It's 100% true. Bjorn's very excited. Someone doing 118 scale stuff. I agree, Bill. It looks like a Coast Guard. And my dad was in the Coast Guard, so I should know. Kirill says, not Red Hood and not Dr. Manhattan. Yes, they do, Rolo. They have Phantomus, Blue Guy, Shameless, Phantomus, French Light. And yes, the outlook this thing clicks in. So it's a little bit of both. You're getting a little bit of both for your money. And not to Dr. Manhattan, Chill Shot Trooper, Riot Clone Soldiers. These are supposed to be troop builders, but um, again, lots of accessories with these characters and lots of options with the heads. We move on to Joe Brody, which is an Adventure Force leader, and I believe a throwback to an older Eagle Force character, but I'm not 100% sure. Not 100% sure. Jesse Hughes says that figure with the black bucket helm, can his legs be removed? I'll bite your ankles. No, I don't think you can do that. Great Australian accent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Super Joe Commander. Okay, so that's who it is. Okay. All right. Now we move on to the hidden enemy of Adventure Force with very nice variant heads, a cool knife, and a cool gun. I really love the alternate silver head here, which with a little bit of ingenuity, you could make a Silver Surfer out of this if you wanted to. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Jim Largo says, as long as that figure doesn't smell like low tide, it should be okay. Yeah, not wrong. You're not wrong. Moving through here. Yeah, that's everything. So that's all those figures, which is a cool wave. Of course, I'm going to get rid of my previous tabs here so I can, because when you have so many big bad tabs open, it's kind of hard to see where you're at. So I just want to get back in here because I had so many open. Okay. Now I move into the Wave 5 set, which you can already see from the group that there's some interesting stuff going on here. Now, this is 6 figures for $159.99, a little bit less money. But we've got some interesting send ups. Not John Wick, for example, not Steve Austin, for example, not a Cobra Viper, for example. And I know that's supposed to be somebody, but I have no idea who it is. Not at all. It says here that their official names are Sandstorm, Silverback, Agent Grim, Matt Matheson, Riot Commando Urban Specialist, and Major Draconis. So some pretty interesting things on par here, you know. Roman Carbon asks if anyone reviewed any releases. Gojatron actually has a review of a similar figure and has more on the way. So yes, eventually. Better Ray Bob saying it's a Micronauts homage in one case, and I would tend to agree. Jesse Hughes says, I wonder if the hidden is an arms dealer. Could be, could be, could be. Captain Atom or Micronaut? Could be. I honestly don't know. but I think it's really cool. And yes, Pope, that was almost certainly a nod to John Wick, but it's not John Wick. Whoa. Yeah, I think that you could be forgiven for mistaking this for John Wick, but it's legally distinctly not, if you get my drift. Um, Not Mask, not Stan Lee. Yeah, I can see that. You know, I guess that could be a not Mask figure, and it could be not Stan Lee. Sure, sure, absolutely. Now we get into the Amazing Heroes line that predates the females. So again, these are not certain figures, but they show the card backs, which are quite nice. Ataman, Vulcan, Black Fury, Black Cobra, not Flash Gordon. I mean, Lash Lightning, and not a Skrull. Definitely not a Skrull. Glad. Also, not Flash. Captain Tootsie, which I know that some of these are legit characters. Um, Blue Flame, clearly not the Human Torch at all. Not even close. But these are all in that same line. And okay, all right. Coach Jones says these are all Golden Age comic characters now in the public domain. So when we say not Skrull, not Human Torch, the roles might be reversed here, for sure. Better Ray Bomb says I've got some reviews of these figures on my Instagram page. Same username is on YouTube. I'm going to check those out. Better Ray. You're waiting to see if they're good quality. They look to be pretty well built. And Kieran Ball's absolutely right. Some of these are a lawsuit waiting to happen. I agree. Some of them are. But given we've got some golden age characters that are public domain, it's nothing to do. These are all 4 inch, if I'm not mistaken. 4.5 inches. So they scale with superpowers, which is super exciting. Super exciting. Um, boom, 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 boom. And there is a link to Goji Tron's Amazing Heroes review. After the stream, you nerds, actually. Caramel says, but they've tweaked the names, and that's a vampire, not a scroll. Fair enough. Whatever you say. I mean, it's open to interpretation, right? And I really like this last one, which is in stock right now. It's a Larry Hama figure. That's awesome. How can you not like that? If you're a G.I. Joe fan, especially the comics, like, how can you not want a Larry Hama figure, guys? It's pretty cool. Nothing too particular about this, except you've got the obvious nod to the GI Joe card back art, and then you've got a figure of him itself. I just think it's cool. I just think it's cool. Now we get into what started me on this rabbit hole in the first place: the Long Box Heroes collection from the same company, which again are designed to scale with superpower, so 4 to 4.5 inches. Starting with a licensed Tick figure, the Tick. Come, Arthur. But there's more. There's much more. We've got Madman. These are all classic comics characters. Got Grendel, which is that's a great looking figure. Grendel used to be great in comics. The Goon, the Rocketeer, the Rocketeer. I need a Rocketeer. They have not gone on for pre-order yet, but I will be ordering a Rocketeer as soon as I can. You've got Mr. Monster, Hack Slash, depending on who you talk to, which has got a great spiked bat. The Black Phantom, which is a Rocketeer villain, I believe. Onslaught Trooper with a bonus enemy officer head. So you buy two of these, and you've got either two troops or two officers or mix and match. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff for sure. And of course, we're back to the Tick. I think these are really, really, really cool looking figures for sure. And something that I wanted to give as much visibility to as I could in our little corner of the internet, for the simple fact that I hadn't heard anyone else talking about this. So when Gojitron brought them up to me, I was very, very, very happy. And yes, from what I've read as well, they should be on pre-order on Big Bad before the end of the week, and I'll definitely um, be doing that for a bunch of them. Karen Ball says no knee or elbow articulation. These are meant to be classic figures to scale with older stuff, so it makes sense they're 5 POA. But I agree that articulation would have been nice. I see a bunch of folks saying they're getting the Rocketeer. Uh, we got a bunch of people really losing their minds on the Rocketeer. Now, this is something that may not interest most of you, but I heard about this and said, "Ooh, this is neat." And I know a few people that will be into it. I don't know if they are. I know of one person here, Ozzy might like this, but we'll see. This is a Return of the Living Dead Tarman in 1/6 scale. He's 12 inches tall. Um, and he's 130 bucks, which is a lot. But he's got interchangeable heads and a brain to eat and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. If you're a fan of Return of the Living Dead, I mean, this is like the quintessential character. And it's just an amazing sculpt. It's dead to rights the movie character for sure. I mean, for me, this is a really cool thing. I don't know that I'm going to get this, but it's kind of crazy. But again, it's a 12-inch sculpted articulated figure, uh, which are not easy to come by. This is from Trick or Treat Studios, who also do similar figures from other lines, like the Halloween 2 Michael Myers, which has soft goods. He's a little more expensive, probably because of the soft goods. But these are interesting horror characters that I'm a big fan of. So it is something that, if you're into that sort of a thing, it's worth checking out what Trick or Treat is doing. But again, for the average collector, these are not these are not for you. These are not for you at all. Now, speaking of kind of going from horror and steering back a little bit, okay? Because again, if you're not a fan of Return of the Living Dead, that's not going to appeal to you at all. However, for you classic lovers out there like myself, these NECA figures are the first NECA figures to really make me go, because these are three figures that are directly inspired by the Remco series back in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. These are 7-inch scale, and even the card backs they're clearly aping that Remco style. Even the NECA logo is in that Remco style. These are dead to rights, exactly what they look like, but with a little bit more detail on the sculpts. Now, you all know I'm not a NECA fan, um, but for 65 bucks to get all three, that's not bad. It's not bad for what it is, and if you leave them on the card, you know. But some of you might remember my story about these figures. And it's because of the fact that, well, yeah, the Wolfman looks terrible. He looked terrible back in the 80s. Why would you make him look better? I'm just saying, if you're trying to go for uh, that old school vibe, I mean, that's kind of par for the course with this stuff. But I agree, it looks horrible. But that's what the Remco figure looked. It looked horrible. Hi, Ben Stutley. I just saw that you were here. I missed it earlier. Now, I saw these in a Toys R Us in the clearance aisle next to Raiders of the Lost Ark Kenner figures. This was in 1985, and I either couldn't decide what figure to get from Indiana Jones, or because I couldn't get everything and I knew I would never see them again, I decided to go with the two Remco figures I got, the Frankenstein and the Wolfman. So for me, there's a nostalgia trip here because two out of these three figures represent something that's a very, very present memory in my mind. So for me personally, there's a huge nostalgia trip here, and it may not for anyone else here, but because it was so personal to me, I wanted to share the story and make you aware of it, even though it is from NECA, who NECA rhymes with evil. I don't. Ugh. And I'm not done with the controversy. Not done with controversy at all. Ooh, Jim Largo says Jada Toys doing Universal Monsters line at 1/12 scale. They're actually real nice. Gototron did a review of the Creature Black Lagoon. I'll have to check that out. I think I might have seen it, but I might have been drinking. I might have forgotten it. Check it out. Very cool. Now, like I said, I promise that I'm not done with the controversies today because the opinion on this particular toy line, from what I can see online, is pretty divided. Kieran Ball says they're painted to look like Remco mini monsters. And NECA also has a movie accurate Universal Monsters line. Exactly. Exactly. So I want to talk about the BST AXN Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line. Um, I've seen mediocre reviews for them. I've seen slightly positive reviews for them, and I've seen slamming reviews of them. With that last one being from Loud Convoy, who goes very detailed, does a great job of explaining why he says like these are horrible. These are basically bootlegs of SH figure arts, sculpts, and it's very compelling. It's completely obvious to me that it's completely obvious that that's the case. There's no question in my mind that everything he's saying is true. However, I am not as interested in the turtles as I am with the foot soldier and shredder figures, as well as Casey Jones here. So you look at the shredder figure; it's quite nice actually. And I saw a review of the foot soldier figure on a YouTube channel, and they showed them next to the classic Playmates turtles. They actually scale really well, and it's a nice blend. Um, the turtles themselves, like I said, I'm not really interested in those, but I am interested in the ancillary characters, and they're proportioned well, like Jim is saying here. Um, and I think there'll be a good mix, and the price isn't bad either. So when the alternative is the classic, vintage shredder and foot soldiers, which one I think we can all agree that those are really weird sculpts. They're not accurate to what they're supposed to be, and also they're more expensive than they should be at this point. And Gojastron makes a good point. The world does not need another toy company making TMNT figures. I agree. I agree. But to fill out my collection, these I think are an interesting proposition. Speaking of interesting propositions, they also have out these 4 packs, um, which include 2 foot soldiers and 2 turtles. This is Leo and Mikey, and then you have this one, which is Don and Raph, again with a foot soldier and Shredder. So it's okay. No, that's his lieutenant, so it's not a foot soldier. So I take that back. But this Shredder looks amazing to me. And it's comic accurate from the original comic, albeit it being in color. Now, granted, these are just repaints of the existing turtles. So again, the turtles are probably just going to sit on a stand and be like, "Look, we're comic book turtles, right?" I'm again much more interested in the comic accurate other figures, and the price ain't bad. It's not bad at all. So again, I'm not trying to sell you on anything, but I'm letting you know where my head's at. Wanting to give you guys a bit of a look at these from loyal subjects. And, you know, despite the fact that Bjorn says that those turtles are trash, send you the figures I do have if you want to look at them. Um, Jim Largo says BSTAXN lousy articulation and quality. I'd be leery of these. Fair enough. Fair enough. If y'all can find me some figures of Shredder and the Foot Soldiers that scale to the classic turtles without being the vintage ones, which are way too expensive for my taste, even though I'll probably end up with them anyway, let me know because I really hate the old Shredder. I hate the old foot soldiers. I never liked them. The whole bent leg being bent down, giving themselves osteoporosis. I never liked it. And I'm looking for something that'll work. And mm, not a fan, not a fan. Not a fan. Yes, Bill, I do know that the turtles were connected to Daredevil. In fact, they're meant to have the same origin if you think about it. So basically, the kid saves the guy, and this mutagen comes off the truck that almost hit the guy, splashes his face, blinds him, and then the canister goes down into the sewer and falls on the turtles and Splinter, making them who they are today. Very interesting inside baseball for that as well. Absolutely. Bum, 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 bum. Jim Salzberg, much like Marvel, 20 different shops, all claiming to be the first cheesecake in Philly. You bet. You bet. Um, Maniac says, I do like turtles, but here you often get the vintage ones for a bargain, so I won't be a customer on these. Yeah, the vintage ones here on eBay, for example, you're looking at around $20 to $40 a figure for the ones that aren't rare. And then even then, there may not be complete. Um, on top of the fact that I just don't like the sculpts for the villain figures, with Bebop and Rocksteady being an exception, for sure. And I want those figures, but they are expensive and often incomplete. So it's a real pain in the neck for me when it comes to this. Ozzy asks, didn't they make some 80s horror film TMNT figures a while ago? Yes, NECA did do that, and they're interesting looking, but they're NECA, so we don't like those very much, for sure. And Jason did answer that. Okay, good. Yes, which is why they look like Electra. Exactly. That's exactly right. And he's not kidding. Um, they just announced Splinterous Helsing. That's an interesting go. Go just says, absolutely, Bill. The toxic waste whacked Matt right in the eyes on the way to the sewer. And Bill says, I have a hooker, April O'Neil. I'm guessing it's the one with the hair, with like the whacked out hair and the stuff. Yeah, I can see that for sure. So, as promised, I wanted to give you guys an update on what happened with uh, the aftermath of yesterday's live stream, if you will. And for those of you that don't know, we were live for 7.5 hours. 7.5 hours, but for a worthy cause. Our very own Masters Maniac Mexico, aka Rolo, has been afflicted with cancer. Has been fighting for years, and was coming into a problem. So Bill Wifta and I, decided um, to basically rally together and do a fundraiser to get him some money, so that we would be able to get a 24/7 caretaker flown from Germany to Mexico, so that he'd be able to just not worry about anything. And I'm very happy to say that we accomplished our goal and exceeded that goal. So I want to show you, as I'm a man of my word, that we did transfer the money this morning. So I was able to get that transmitted and deposited. It's completed. He's got the money. Everything's good. And from what I understand, he was able to get some medication for the first time in a very long time, which is great. And I do have some things to share with you, um, as a kind of a reward for your support. Okay, so on top of that, I'd also like to remind you that during the stream, they let loose that they are going to be chronicling their journey once he gets there, through a specific YouTube channel, which is the Dead Man's Run Mexico. And I'll drop a link in chat right now. So please subscribe to that channel when you have a chance, so we can follow Rolo's journey along the way. So very, very pleased. Now, eagle-eyed viewers will notice that the total sent was around $950 when we raised 1,025. Now, here's what happened. Individual transaction fees got us in the butt, which I knew was going to happen. Okay, I was well aware of it. But the net result was around 950 as opposed to 1,025. That's what happens when you have individual transaction fees. We didn't want to charge those to the people giving, so we took the loss on that, and I will personally be making up the difference in about 10 days to 2 weeks myself. So we'll make sure that that happens for them. Okay. And there's other things going on in the background to give additional money, that which is completely out of my hands. But I do want to thank the individuals who reached out to let me know that they're doing some things to make some more money in the background. And I'll give you updates as things go through. Rolo says, I did get meds and fluid food already. That's awesome for his IV. It's great. That's awesome. And also, James Salzberg, thank you for the super chat, says, come on, NECA is great so long as they stay mint on card. They're great to look at. There's no question about it. And I'm not sure how much of this is sarcastic or not, but thank you very, very much for the super chat, Jim. I really appreciate that. Caramel says, so this is just a short live stream for you? Yes, 90 minutes, just like usual. Okay. Um, Ben Stutley says, well done for yesterday. Great job. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that, man. I'm seeing a few people subbing and everything else. And Jim, with an excellent point, because he's the one that steered me away from GoFundMe, which was the original idea. He says, still better than the GoFundMe fees. That's true. It's very, very true. Um, yes, I will. You don't have a choice. More money's coming. That's just going to happen. And Jim's husband, there's a new listing going up for the unclaimed perks. There you go. There you go. You are scruffy. You are a scruffy, rotund angel, Jim. Oh, thank you. I am scruffy and rotund. The angel, it's that's up for grabs. And Jim's like 100% sarcastic. Very good. I'm glad for that because I would have had a difficult time to explain that. So I'm going to go up here. Hang on. I need to. We're going to give you guys a little bit of a bonus today. We did promise you some fun stuff. As a result of everything going through. We didn't say what, but this is great. And I think you guys are going to really freak out when you see this stuff. Just give me a few moments to tally this up for you. I'm just trying to see which ones I have pulled up. Hang on. So I got a few pictures to show you. So while I'm doing this, who here likes Never Ending Story? Hmm? Who here likes the Never Ending Story? Oh, some of you guys. Coach Sean says, I saw Scruffy Rotund Angel in concert once. Hell of a show. Absolutely. Absolutely. And exactly. Rolo says, maybe I can give something back for exclusive sneaks the toy lines. Exactly what we're doing. So these have never, ever been seen by anyone other than Rolo. These were just from today. These are latest, greatest things. All right. And Never Ending Story is a great movie, in my opinion. One of my favorites as a kid. And there's never been a toy line until now. Here's your favorite luck dragon in the final stages of sculpt form. With a kid figure. I can't tell if that's a Treyu or a Bastion. I think it's a Treyu. On his back, side view for the scale. I might have opened that twice. Did I? Yeah, I did. Okay, so you get two of those. Here's the other side. And then to show the two different halves. So there's some articulation in the back end, which is really cool. So he's articulated and you can put figures on it, and it's great. It's really, really, really cool stuff, and I'm grateful to be able to reveal that to you. I really appreciate Rolo doing that, even if there was the motivation from yesterday's stream. I'm just grateful to have been able to do it. I just realized my lights weren't on this whole time in the back, and I feel horrible. I did rearrange the shelf, guys. Put a bunch, almost all the figures we went over yesterday in the uh, mini reviews are on that shelf now. So it looks a little bit different. So I wanted to show that off. Um, Roman in Cardboard says, I have to ask what's on your shirt. From the camera angle, it looks like a certain round thing on your chest. It is actually a Metallica shirt with two skulls on it. It's a very famous Metallica shirt because Jason Newsted wore it all the time. The reason it looks like boobs is because my non-pecs fold over and make it look like that. So they're not boobs, they're skulls. They're skulls. Rolo says, you'll see the actual sculpting. Please be absolutely honest. Critics are more welcome as questions asked. If you guys want to continue to see them, we can show that. But I do think that it's a really great sculpt. I think it shows off a lot of stuff. Jim Largo says he loves the sculpt. And he says it will be a Treyu, all fully removable and posable, which is great news. Great news. Karen Ball's never seen the Never Ending Story. I recommend it. It's a fun movie for sure. It's a little bit out there, but it's fun, and we'll deliver accessories as well. Great. Woman in Cardboard says, great figure and work. Now the song is stuck in my head. Never ending story. Ah. Okay, that's all you get from me. Ben Stutley says, never ending story scared my little brother as a kid, so I didn't see the end when we rented it. Should probably catch up 30 years later. I agree. Um, it's a fun movie and without peer, in my opinion. It's this interesting, relevant, contemporary kid fantasy story from the 80s. And it's so 80s from the design to the score and the vibe. Very, very cool. And there's a reason that I didn't use that word, Kieran. I love you though. I love you though. Aussie Rules used to have the shirts as a kid. This is my fourth one of the shirt. I had an original from '92, which just got shredded by the end of the decade because I wore it so much. And at that point, I got the reissue of it, which was green, which I liked because I'm green's my favorite color. And then I got another one of these in 2X and then now in 3X. And hopefully, I'll be able to wear the 2X again at some point. Bill says, tune in Sunday on Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. I'll live stream putting the karaoke playground away. Awesome. We'll look forward to seeing that on Sunday, Bill. I'll be there. Killer late fees on the 30-year never-ending story for sure. Stephen S says you make a playset with the big boob statue that blasts your ass with laser eyes. I agree. I would love to see that. Jim Largo wisely advises us all to skip the sequel. I agree as well. Very few of the cast returned. It was a shit show, in my opinion. It's horrible. The first one was great. Ozzy Rule says, I'm a fan of the first three Atreyu albums, and then it became a butt rock band. Wink, wink. Fair enough. Fair enough. The Flash played his dad. No, I think it was Craig, the guy from Coach. I think it was the guy from Coach, man. Breasticles. There you go. Lee Ma from Kagugugu sang the theme song, played on UKTV all the time. Fair enough. No, definitely not made of Oregon beer. Made from Pennsylvania beer. I thank you very much. Craig T. Nelson. Thank you, Stephen. Yes, it was Craig T. Nelson. And I'm 90% sure that that was his dad. It wasn't John Wesley Shipp, as far as I remember. I'm pretty sure it was Craig T. Nelson. I could be wrong. I haven't seen the movie in a long time. Apparently, there were two sequels to Neverending Story, and both were terrible. And the Neverending Story abruptly stopped. So that's okay. That's okay. Rillo, thank you for sharing those, and I'll go through the pictures one more time for everybody, so you can see what we have here. Um, I'm really impressed with this sculpt, and I cannot wait to see the final result of this first time ever fully licensed Neverending Storyline. I'm really excited for this stuff, man. Really excited for it, for sure. Oh, you're saying in the second one? I never saw it. I saw like the first 10 minutes of it. I was like, I'm out. I'm out. Cody Tron says, yes, the movie was a lot of fun. Just ask Artex. What too soon? Oh, mm, I respect you. I respect you so much, Carl. It's a good joke. It's good. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it, but yeah, Artax, I'm sure, is thrilled about this. Artax is just thrilled. You'd think for a title like The Never Ending Story, you think it'd still be going. Well, that's the whole point of the movie is that it is always going in your imagination. That's the whole thing. And I believe that there was a cartoon as well that was very short lived. Ozzy Wilson, Never Ending Story 3, we lied. It is not never ending. Jason Garcia says, Never Ending Story 2 gave us one good line of dialogue. Maybe she thinks it's a good day to die. Oh, that's pretty good. Jim just Googled it and says it was the Flash Gordon in two, and the kid from Sequest. That part I knew. I knew it was a kid from Sequest, who was in the Flash TV series in one episode as well. Interesting stuff. Rolo says we look to get the first wave kicked out by end of the year. So by the end of the year, you may be able to get your hands. I don't know what the international distribution will look like. They originally were looking to keep it only in Mexico, but I don't know what the plan is. So I can't promise anything on their behalf. But they are looking to have that first wave kicked up by the end of the year, which is great. No. Neverending Story was not the Jim Henson Creature Shop. It was a different company. That I know for sure. Okay, I forgot about this part. Rollo says the first made pieces, as promised, leave directly to Bill and myself. That's amazing. I cannot say enough good things about that idea because I'm very happy to be the custodian of these first ones, man. That's really cool. I don't care if the last one's off the line. I'll just be happy to have them. Jim Lago asks, has anyone actually read the original Neverending Story book? I have not, which makes it horrible. Not the book, the fact that I haven't done it. That's right. Gerald McRaney from Simon and Simon and Major Dad was in the first film. Just Google it. Yes. Okay. They all these nondescript gruffy dads all come together in my head. That's for sure. But there you go. So the aftermath of yesterday's stream was that we got the money, thank goodness, and he has received said money and is already making a big difference in his life, from what I understand. So I'm very, very pleased. I could not be more pleased about it, and I'm sure we'll have more updates on when flights happen and things like that as that happens. World Made of Cardboard says there was a book two, and Rolo, of course, read it because it's obligatory for a German child. It makes sense. Jason Garcia says, everyone go listen to Falcor v. Atreyu from Lonely Island. You're welcome. Never heard it, so I don't know what it is. Roman is like, there's never ending information about this movie. Never ending information. No, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Yeah, Jim Salzberg. That's Poltergeist. Poltergeist was Craig T. Nelson. So, Michael Indy wrote Momo. There you go. There you go. So now we enter the portion of our show where Q&A is completely open. Anything you want to talk about, anything you want to ask me about, go for it. We'll make that happen just to hang out. And especially after yesterday's stream, I did not want to put a larger subject onto this. So it's a whole thing. Kieran Ball says, I didn't know you couldn't sing, Jim. What do you mean? Just kidding. I'm kidding. But yesterday was a ton of fun. I went back and I watched part of it. I downloaded it because what I'm going to do, and you guys let me know in the chat if you think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. I want to take all of the Final Faction reviews and cut them into one video, put that up. All of the Marvel Legends and Motu Origins reviews into one video and upload that. Um, and pro- and if Bill wants it, I can give him the footage for the magic tricks he did live, so he can put those on his channel as well. Um, but do you guys think that would work if we took all the? Because I know that the majority of you that were here were not here for the whole show, and I don't expect you to watch 7 hours to get that stuff. So um, I think it would be cool for you guys to be able to get all that information in one small video for whatever you're looking to. Bill says, "Sounds good. All right, I'll get the footage to you, and I'll put the other stuff up." And he can growl. That's all he needs. Fair enough. Fair enough. Jim Salzberg says that he thinks I grind sing well, and the demo was amazing. Appreciate that. Jesse says, easy content, good for sharing. Do it. Done. All right, I'll make that happen this week. Roman Cardboard's got to go. You guys have a great live stream. Y'all are great. You're great. I love you. We'll talk soon, man. Bjorn also popped in and out. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, yeah. I'll get the footage to you. No problem. No problem whatsoever. No problem whatsoever. Jim says I'll be rewatching the whole stream, but small vids would be great for the channel. I agree. I think it's a good way to put content out there, and for folks that weren't there or don't have a personal interest in the overall. It's not that they won't have a personal interest in what we did. It's more that some people just aren't going to put on a 7-hour video. personally, if I were on the outside looking in, that would be a perfect thing to put on in the background while I was working, right? Just to have these voices because one thing that I noticed, I had a lot of energy yesterday, um, which is it's kind of how it was in my previous life as a streamer on Twitch because you have to all the time. Um, but I, in the moment, didn't didn't I wasn't paying attention. I didn't think I was going as breakneck as I was, but apparently I did, and I'm pretty pleased with myself. I have to be honest. I think I did a good job, and I had a lot of fun. And having Bill on the show infinitely helped me maintain humor and energy. Can't thank him enough, man. I love you, Bill. Thank you so much for helping me out. Jason Garcia with the hard, admittedly took an hour nap during a live stream. I didn't. Pope says you guys are troopers for going 7 hours. 7.5. I thank you very much. No, I appreciate that. Roland says the local gang just wrote me. They have a contact for me. Okay. All right. Whatever you need. Kieran Ball says 5 more likes, please. Ozzy with very he says, Jim, energy? No. Yeah, because he's seen me in person a lot. And the whole thing. It's not exactly a record contract, more so to scare the chupacabras from the ranches. Okay. Absolutely. I will happily provide them with the Carnivore demo if it's going to scare off some chupacabras. You got it. You got it. Our mutual pleasure. And then Jim's like, plus we got a Manzinger Z Jumbo Mashinder. Absolutely. Ben Sutley says, an edit of my favorite highlights might be cool too. Yeah, I mean, I could do that. The only thing with that is that after I take all the reviews out, um, my highlights would amount to the reactions of donations and stuff. And I'm more than happy to make it if people want to see that. Um, but that would be it wouldn't be difficult, but be hard to like make them thread. So it's a challenge. I'll gladly accept, Ben. I'm just not sure what else to put in there. I mean, certainly some joke highlights probably would be good. That'll take me a while though, because I'll have to scran through and just get all the jokes and kind of thing. So there's definitely a lot of stuff I could do. It's a good idea, and I appreciate that, and I will do it. Just don't be in a rush to get it because it'll take me a while because I'm still working on other stuff in it as well. So great Menzinger, correct. Stephen S says, was the boy in the Indian in the cupboard a different kid? I think it was the same kid. I think it was the same kid. I'm not 100% sure on that. Hey, Toy Connections is here. What's up? Toy Connections, what's up? How you doing? Did I miss a comment from him? I guess I did. Dun, 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 dun. Well, welcome, Ken. It's good to see you, pal. Ken participated in Iconicon and did an amazing job on everything that he did. That guy's got more knowledge than I have forgotten. It's kind of crazy. I've known Ken for a while now, and always had a ton of respect for the guy. Love the content he creates. But when you put him on a live stream on a panel, that guy fucking delivers, dude. He is just he's a great panelist. And yes, spoilers, he will be on this show at some point in the near future. We've already talked about it. It's going to happen sometime in the future. I don't know why I'm bouncing, but I can't. Okay, I can stop. Joey. I'm not sure. Ken says, much appreciated. Just one of folks made me feel welcome when I was new to YouTube. Hey, no problem, man. I mean, I know we all know what it's like. We actually do, and we want to help you out. And hello, fellow Transformers enthusiasts. One thing about Iconicon, it made me feel like a bad Transformers fan because I only have the miniature guys that Goji sent me, and I continue to buy. Um, I am not vaping Red Bull right now, Jesse. It's not the case at all. Um, but I don't have any Transformers. And here's the thing, and I realize what the answer to this probably is. Um, I don't want the G1 figures because although I have lots of nostalgia for them, they're brittle, they break, they're always incomplete, and they're expensive as shit. Don't care. Um, and a lot of the stuff that's being put out now, there's such differing scales, various lines, and it's hard for me to like get my head wrapped around them. Plus, they're too expensive for what they are. Now, compare those to say some of the knockoffs from overseas, which are arguably better quality and more affordable. I'm thinking about that. But even then, there's still so many different versions that I'm not sure what to get. I don't know where to start. 'Cause I just want some somewhat cartoon accurate or Transformers the movie accurate figures of a handful of characters in the same scale. That's all I want. That's all I want. I don't think it's too much to ask either. I just don't know where to start. And I agree, Jason, that the new Studio 86 ones are actually good and scale well. I agree. But I am late to the line, and to get some of those after the fact is murder. Murder. So no. Plus the characters I want are not all available in that line. So it's like so it's a whole thing. Toy Connection says, I actually prefer the third party Transformers in many ways. Also, can start with the official Studio Series Action 86. Okay, so several people are like, dude, just go with the 86 figures. And Bill with a good point, which is also part of why G1 and I am not a huge fan of. Scales were all over the place with vintage, and that's because they notoriously borrowed from different toy lines in Japan and just mashed them together. I agree. The scales were all over the place, which is part of why I don't want G1. I really don't. Now, Gen G2 was pretty cool. Some repaints, some updates, which is not bad. But ultimately, I'm going to want to get from like one source and figure it out. Now, I'm not prepared to go all in on this stuff because I just announced last week that I'm going to start collecting Star Wars, and not just what we've talked about on the show. I'm going to start getting Power of the Force stuff. Sal and other people on that panel more or less convinced me, like, you know what, I needed to give these a second look, and I did, and I'm in love. The price is right. Ton of great figures. Gotta have them. Gotta have them. So Karen Ball says the kid from Never Ending Story was Daryl. That's correct. And Cocoon Return, I forgot about that. Daryl was a good movie. I haven't seen that in fucking years, man. I used to love that movie. It's weird, but I love it. Jesse says, I'm a little younger. I grew up with Beast Wars. Fair enough. Goji coming in. G1 scales were fine. Blaster was supposed to be bigger than Devastator, right? Bjorn asked me to send a list of figures and vehicles I'm looking for. I will happily do that. I will happily do that. Thank you. Bill's like, is it time for an intervention, Jim? I mean, no. Please help. Rolla says, yeah, I can see that. God receiving you right at the doorstep saying, look, Jim, I'm 99% sure to let you in, but you have been a bad, and I mean a really bad Transformers fan. It's a no. You're not allowed into heaven. You know what? Could be. Could be. Jason Garcia says Beast Wars was the best. Maximals maximize. I have to go back and watch that show. I mean, honestly, if you took the cheapest of the cheap CGI that's available today and redid all the animation in Beast Wars, but kept the the pacing, the music, and all the voice acting, and re-released it, I think it would be a gigantic freaking hit. Personally, just based upon what little I know about the series. Um, he says, "Power of the Force, Power of the Force Two, Power of the Force Two for most things because they did really, but there's some parts of the original Power of the Force that I'm into. Um, I'm just gonna mix and match and get what I want and go nuts. There are certain things that are always going to be expensive, like Millennium Falcon and the shuttle, the Imperial shuttle. I want one so bad. but those are expensive. But I do want one. Basically, I want just about every ship that's been made. Um, core characters at core times in the line. I don't need every single one. And there's a few play sets that I want. Like I definitely want that Jabba's Palace playset they did, which is like this big diorama, and you can put, you can buy different things to put in there, and certainly want a cantina. I want a little bit of everything, to be honest. Jim Largo says, when they make a transforming girlfriend that turns into a pizza and a six pack of beer after your date, then I'll start collecting Transformers. We're not far from it, man. I've already got robot girls that are lifelike, if you get my meaning. I'm just saying. That's a real thing. Jim Salzberg says, I have the Target release mint in box. The box is fucking huge, would be 100% minimum to ship. That's of the shuttle. That's crazy. I, I can imagine that box costing that much to ship. It's kind of crazy. Bill had a Power of the Force Falcon, but your daughter has it now. Well, your daughter's a big Star Wars fan, right? You will send me my. Oh my god! What? What? Come on, oh, man. He says when I'm settled, which means when you don't live in a hotel. It's like trying to get you to move into a house, Jim. You'll get a Imperial shuttle if you move. Okay, okay. Fair enough. That's crazy, and dude, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. But I really appreciate the sentiment more than you know. And it does light a fire to my ass. I'm like, let's go find a place to live. That's not coming anytime soon. For the simple fact, the housing market here is horrible. Um, and you know, I really have my sights set on buying a house, and the credit score is just ticking up a little by little, and I'm hoping I'll be able to make some things happen. But rest assured, it will happen as soon as I can. I just don't see the point of getting locked into a lease. I just don't. On the other hand, I might get to a point where I'm just like, fuck it, because by spring next year, I might change my mind. If I'm not really, 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 really close with the credit score, it might make sense to move into a place at that point, right? Um, but it's a whole thing. So I'm going to sell it. So I'll sell you the French price, no rush. Awesome. Appreciate that. Still, it's an amazing gesture all the same. Bill has a good point. When you get settled, could be a while. Yeah, 'cause I'm always. He's absolutely right, for sure. Absolutely sure. So that would be amazing, though. And I realize that me getting to more toys as I'm sitting here in this enclosed space is a bad idea. But something I do want to do, hopefully before the end of the year, is take the storage that I have here, all the stuff I have in storage in Houston, combine them into a larger storage unit right here in like up the street, um, so that I can one clean house, get rid of stuff I don't need for one thing, have access to things that I do want to have access to. So, like for example, what I think I'm going to do is take all of my video games out of a cardboard box and put them in the plastic bins so they're more protected. And also, I can take stock of what I have at the time and also store the games that I have that I've bought since then. In other words, reorganize everything into bins as opposed to cardboard boxes for the most part. Anything that, potentially could have need of that sort of a thing, right? So when it comes to like those things, I think it's a smart move. Same thing with CD, same things with the Blu-ray stuff like that. So they're all in one place, easy way to do it, and uh, just get everything organized in such a way that's easy to get the stuff, and also just to know it's all in one place. Climate controlled, shelter, the whole thing. But I have no doubt that after being in an outdoor facility with no climate control for at this point um, 4 years, some stuff's going to be sacrificed. There's going to be some stuff that's just unusable. I know that for a fact. Granted, that's probably very few and far between, and I'm certain that there's stuff in there that I just don't need anymore. So I do need to get all that stuff up here, throw out the stuff I definitely do not want, or sell it if it's of sellable condition. I just don't want it. But there's no toys there that like the only toy that is there that I'm aware of, I can remember having, is the Savage World Hellraiser pinhead, which is on card. But I got another one because I couldn't wait to have one. Um, it's the only toy that's there. Everything else is still susceptible to heat, but it is pretty well covered, so it should be okay. But I have no idea for sure. And until I get the stuff up here, I'm never gonna know. And having the stuff come up, um, it would be nice just to have everything in one place, which will give me a lot of peace of mind and give me one bill. Will save me money on storage bills every month. So and Bill's like, you could live in the storage unit with the toys. No, I don't want to do that. Jim Salzberg says, those of us living in a glass G.I. Joe headquarters do not throw stones. I'm still buying stuff. I have a giant locker. There you go. Rolla says, so are we building a little empire, sir? A little grindhead Death Star toy shrine? Yeah, that's kind of the idea, man. The idea is that when the time comes, and the only thing I'm waiting on is my credit score to go up over a specific threshold. And then my veterans benefits from being in the Marine Corps, I can then utilize. And I can get a house with little to no down payment. And I will buy a house here in the area where I live now, which will have a 3 to 4 bedroom minimum. Minimum. So I can have a separate office space, which will also have a specific toy display for the channel and have another room for collections. So it'll be overspill of toys. It'll also have uh, CDs in it, probably books as well. And all my Blu-rays will go in the living room or in an adjacent room to the living room. Um, but so we'll also have a separate room for music, so I'll have a place to play drums, and of course your usual kitchen, living room, and bedroom. But my bedroom will probably be one of the smallest bedrooms because I don't need a lot of room in there. I just don't, because all I do is sleep and screw, and you don't need that much room to do that as long as you have a good bed. So when that happens, I'm going to be a very, 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 very happy guy. But I am very grateful for what I have these days. It's small, but it works. And I'm grateful to every one of you and the folks that aren't here that have been supportive, not just for the channel itself, but to me directly, and helping make these things happen. I appreciate that. Joe Marcus says, I'm telling you, we can get yourself a nice house here in Guatemala. We could be neighbors. Your internet sucks. It's always hot. And I don't speak normally, I ever speak Spanish, but I appreciate the offer. Just saying, you can get a house up here in Texas. Um, Bill asks, will you add people to your household? Just asking. Probably not. It's always a possibility, but probably not. Because even I am dating right now, but we've all kind of agreed that cohabitation is probably not the best idea. Those of you that have been around for a while know exactly what I mean. Um, I don't think that will happen, but I never say never. Well, so, excuse me, sir, but sir is an ancient sire is an ancient noble title, has nothing to do with ordinary nose pickers. Fair enough. I understand. Kieran Ball says the UK eBay is flooded with Power of the Force figures at the moment. Green card backs and Euro red card backs. For a non Star Wars collector, it's very confusing. Yes, I don't know what the difference is between the different colors. I have no idea. And we have a lot of them here in the US as well. They're not expensive at all. Um, he says, so it's Mexico then. No. Um, and no offense to anybody. I like the area that I'm in here a lot. I'm close to a lot of friends that are local here. I like the area and accessibility and the conveniences quite a bit. Not a huge fan of the state of Texas and the way it runs itself as a state, but there's more good than bad, in my opinion. I have no desire to move out of the United States at all, just because I know what a horrible mess moving things through freight can be. And I have no desire to get rid of my stuff. I'm working too hard on my collections to not do that. Jim says, "Will you be getting an iguana to remind you of your favorite version of Godzilla?" I will be getting cats and dogs. Cats and dogs at a minimum. Maybe some fish. Maybe some lizards. I don't know. I was like, Gino is not Godzilla. That's correct. 100%. Bjorn's like, don't move here. Too many fires. Fair enough. Not a problem. But yeah, I will be likely staying in Texas for the remainder of my existence. I don't see myself moving again. I really don't. I've lived in Texas now for 4 years. In DFW for almost 3 of those years. Um, so and typically, if I'm going to get the itch, it's usually around 7 8 years. Um, so unless things drastically change, which life tends to do that, I will probably stay here for the foreseeable future. Um, and I definitely never say never because 11 years ago, 12 years ago, I said I would never live in Texas because of the heat. And yet here I am for 4 years. So uh, everything is taken with a grain of salt, as they say. So all of that to say, I think we've kind of run the gamut here. I'll answer a few more questions, and we'll definitely have a hard out at 6:30 here. Just use pets. Are penguins pets? I mean, I guess technically you could have penguins as pets, but I wouldn't recommend it. Um, they're they're pecky, and then also they like to poop. They like to poop the liquid poop. Look at the behind the scenes for the Queen music video. I'm going slightly mad, and you'll see a penguin take a shit on a leather couch. It's kind of interesting, for sure. Yes, I understand, Bjorn. If you want me to get a tiger, I get it. I might get a tiger striped, you know, tabby or something, but no, I'm not getting a tiger. I don't want to end up on Netflix spouting off about Carol fucking Baskin, right? I don't want to do that. Don't want to do that at all. But folks, I really appreciate you being here, and especially after yesterday's marathon stream, with all the support that our core community gave. It was very important to me to gift you back more of my time in the format that you're used to and share some news with you. And I hope that you enjoyed it. Uh, I can't thank you enough for your support yesterday in any form that you gave it. Clearly, you can tell that Rolo is really in much better spirits. Probably is feeling quite a bit better. And he says, my Chicano friend and I will renew the offer. I'm sure you can't resist. The food is too good. Mexican food is quite good from what I've had of actual traditional Mexican food. Um, I'm not saying that I won't visit. I'm saying I probably won't live there. Jason Garcia says, when you're ready to move your stuff from Houston, let me know. If I'm free, I'll load up my Suburban and lend a hand. That would be amazing, Jason. Really and truly amazing. I'll be renting a 20-foot truck for the job. So we probably won't have to put a whole lot of stuff in any other vehicles at all. I just need to get in the truck and get up here. I will definitely be in touch with that because I do need some help and I would like someone I can trust. And I know that I can trust you and I appreciate that. Everyone's saying me thanks for the stream. Appreciate that. And I'm glad, Ken, I'm glad to see me here today because last night I was destroyed, just wrecked. And got up this morning, was a little sore around the edges. Got some coffee in me. I feel great, and I wanted to say hello, knowing that I didn't have to be here for 7.5 hours. So I'm glad to be here. And Rolo says he feels 1,000 pounds lighter. There you go. It's awesome. It's awesome. And Rolo will come with reports now frequently. And yeah, awesome. And maybe we'll have Rolo come on every so often and actually speak through his updates, which would be great. I'd love to have him. Certainly, we'll have Bill back on the show as well. Kieran Ball says, another awesome live stream, Jim. Great topics and great people in chat. Take care, everyone. I agree 100%. And on that note, I thank you all very much for your time, your energy, and your love and your support. I will see you next week on Monday. and we'll have a couple videos between now and then, Godzilla willing. Take care, guys. I love you very much. Have a good night.